Hey everybody, welcome to Trailer Punk Podcast. My name is Justin Hamline, and today I'm going to try and finish up part two of the epic saga. Is that a saga? Would it be a saga of me and Shannon? And so, episode one, part one, would that be right? Is currently on YouTube. I think I only did about, was it like a 30-minute thing? Let me check. Let me take a look. Take a look. Um, Yeah, it's only about 30 minutes. And then I realized that I could probably add a lot more to it because I don't think I really got into like the details about, Ella and our wedding and everything that kind of followed with the other kids. So I thought, why well, just expand it a little bit more. So before I get started, thank you guys for liking, subscribing, listening, watching, whatever you guys do. I really appreciate it. Let me go ahead and make a few, uh, you know, uh, promotions or announcements or whatever. So this Sunday, I'll be interviewing Gen Cab, industrial group or industrial musician. I mean, they have a live band, but yeah, so Gen Cab. Um, on the 17th, I'll be interviewing Martin Bose from Attrition, a goth band from the UK, one of the early ones. Carl from Angel Spit on November 24th. Jesus on Ecstasy, December 1st. Uh, Shannon Hemmett from the band Leathers will be December 8th. God Bombs on December 15th. December 22nd, my brother and I might do a like what's the word I'm looking for? A podcast on A Christmas Carol. I think we might do the book deep dive as well as the movie. I think it's the Alistair Sims movie. We might even do like a we'll watch it and comment or whatever. I don't know. December 30th will be a Vision video interview. January 5th will be Assemblage 23. And I think this might come in. I kind of booked it today, so I'm not sure. Hopefully everything kind of goes through. Um, January 12th will be Fact Pattern. I think they're from Kansas City. So I'm trying to look for a lot more local talent. So I think that's it. I think I pretty much have everything covered there. Um, oh, if you're part of my YouTube, if you're subscribed, you're probably seeing a lot of old uploads. I think the latest one was our beta dating bloopers and behind the scenes. I was kind of going through a lot of old footage, and the beta dating was something my brother and I did for I think this was 7 or 8 years ago. I think it's seven. No, maybe eight. I don't know. Where we did a video for Men's Health. Like since it's No Shave November, we did like a little video skit and stuff like that, which if you go onto my videos on this channel, you can find it. It says beta dating. And then I just went ahead and just did a big old footage dump. Just took everything we had, all the behind the scenes, all the bloopers, all the unedited footage, and just kind of put it into this like 2 hour and 21 minute video file. So, I mean, if you guys like, watching extended stuff, whatever, just geek out about all this old footage, check it out. It was a lot of fun to do the video skits and, come up with all these weird characters and, a bit of, improv and stuff like that. So it's been a while since we kind of did that stuff. That was so much fun to do. We recorded it in my parents' basement before, all this stuff happened with the house and all that. Anyways, but yeah. So thank you guys for checking that out. Tell your friends about me. Like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. So let's get back into the part two with me and Shannon and our relationship. And so I think I left off where we moved in 2008. And then at the beginning of 2009, Ella was born. She was born January 3rd, 2009. I think we went into the hospital. Was it on the second? I was on second. It was January 2nd. We went in early, 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 early. Um, it was you were supposed to be induced, right? And so we got in there early. We kind of went through the whole process. Um, and then you got the epidural, which anytime she gets the epidural, always makes her feel sick. Um, I mean, I understand, if you're giving birth and stuff like that, you want to feel numb. I don't think, I mean, I guess depending on who you are, I don't blame her. But, between, pushing and the epidural, and then they induced her with all that medicate, like it's a whole thing, it's a whole process. And for it being like a first time, type of situation, it's got to be a lot. And the, the ridiculous thing is, since it's our first kid, everybody wanted to be in the room. Not when the baby was born, but during the whole process of waiting for dilation and stuff like that, everybody wanted pictures. Everybody was hanging out in our room, just driving us up the wall. And, they were just talking and gabbing, and Shannon's feeling sick and trying to eat her ice chips and stuff like that. It was such a mess, but um, and then Ella was actually the first kid born at that hospital for 2009. So that was fun. And they gave us like a little gift basket and stuff like that. So it was cool. And still at the time I was working at Walmart. I was working in the electronics department there. And then yeah, so was working at Walmart, had Ella. Man, yeah, I'll tell you something. That hospital that we went to had the best food, best breakfast. I mean, and they give you, like, I guess, they gave you what, two meals, two free meals, wasn't it? And then I only had one. And brother, the breakfast, oh my gosh, it was the biggest plate. Like, you would have thought it was like biscuits and gravy, hash browns, eggs, bacon. Like, it was, man, it was so good. So what hospital was that? That was Progress West. Yep, out in O'Fallon, Missouri. So that was awesome. So at the time, we were you can go ahead and grab a, there you go, cough drop. She's been coughing, so you'll probably hear a cough. Hopefully not. She doesn't want to be heard in the podcast. Um, so I was still working at Walmart. I think, was it, and we were still living at the apartments, and we were still, working at, keeping up. And then the rent went up, and it was a weird sort of balance where the rent went up, and then was it your parents needed help, I think, with your dad, and even, was it making payments and stuff like that? So we moved in to help, like, keep keep us afloat, you know what I mean? So we moved in with her parents, and they were living out in Winfield. And so we were kind of helping each other out. I mean, I think this was kind of actually in the middle of like the housing crisis. So rent went up for us at the apartment. So we moved out, and they were having issues trying to keep the house afloat, or the trailer afloat. So it was like, we're kind of moving in, and since I'm working and we're kind of helping each other out, And then what was great was that Ella got to spend more time with her grandma and grandpa. And so yeah, all that's going on around 2009. I'm still, um, you know, working on doing music and doing shows and stuff like that. And again, working at Walmart. And so, um, 2010, at a point where I think it was either I was sick or Ella was sick. Um, not GM, but working at Walmart, they fired me. And so for like a huge gap in that time, um, I think we were kind of planning. It was a weird time where it was like we were planning to get married, weren't we? Was it before I got fired, or was it a little bit after? Yeah, so we were planning on wanting to get married that year. I think it was, yeah, just as I was reading it, it was we wanted to get married on your birthday in 2010. We wanted a 10-10-10 wedding, but it was an issue with both scheduling a day and having issues because I was unemployed. And so at the time, I was getting unemployment, and I was trying to get other work. So a lot of that time was doing Satero research, where what I did was I would do, you would go and basically be like a guinea pig for like pharmaceuticals. And so there was times where I'd go and have to stay the night there, or um, I'd go and they would dose me or whatever, and then I'd have to come back and they would check my blood and stuff. So any bit of like money I could get, I did, and it was weird looking back at those times where it was like, oh, I'm filling out applications and all that stuff, and yeah, Ella was growing up, and um, uh, we were still working on music and doing shows at the time. I think a lot of it was when I was off work, or out of work, I should say, is when I was doing a lot more music and trying to do a lot of DJ gigs and stuff like that. Doing weddings, and I think I did a DJ gig out in, Columbia for a goth club and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun. Um, so we were working on the wedding, and the wedding was on November 19th, 2010. And again, it was a great wedding, man. We really pulled it off considering we had like not a lot of money at the time, and I was still unemployed. And it really just shows, like, when it comes to Shannon and I, is that even if we're like at rock bottom, we're still not letting it get the best of us. You know what I mean? And it shows that even like when we got married, when we literally had no money, because a lot of these relationships, you'll see that they like, they'll stress and worry about money, and it becomes an issue with a lot of marriages. Where with Shannon and I, that was never an issue with us. We know, like, hey, we make the best with what we got. And we've been at those moments when in 2010 where I was unemployed and um struggling to make money and stuff like that, struggling to make payments on stuff. But by the grace of God and all that, we seem to have made it. And it was really amazing, really eye-opening year. And even at the time when I was unemployed, um, I was like, I noticed that I was doing a lot of like personal searching, with reading the Bible, and struggling with my own sort of religious issues and stuff like that. And I felt like I was kind of growing more, just because at the time you're focused on your family, you're focused on your hobbies and stuff like that. But even then it was like, oh, I'm starting to focus more on God, and kind of follow my path with him. And so really interesting year. Um, December 25th, we announced that Shannon was pregnant with Macy on Christmas. Yeah. So we she was pregnant. It was is am I saying that right? She was pregnant, obviously. So we made that announcement December 25th on Christmas with everybody that Shannon was pregnant. And oh, I missed something. So in November, I think it was close to Thanksgiving, I got my job back at Walmart working at the Tire Lube Express, working on cars and stuff like that. So it was good to kind of get back on that and you know, back to making money and stuff like that. And even then it was like, oh, I'm making money and now Shannon's pregnant and we have another kid on the way. So that was awesome. Um, let's see. So in 2000, it jumps right into 2011. I'm still working at Walmart. Um, you know, I'm still, yeah, so still working at Walmart. Not a lot really went on up until um excuse me, I'm still working on music, still doing all that, but up into August. Jesus, my voice is on like, up until August 26th was when Macy was born. Um, and at that time, I was actually working to get out of working at Walmart and uh, trying to find a new job, get a little extra money and stuff like that. And we it's funny because the day that she went into labor, it was when I was filling out my application for the job that I was about to get. So, August 26th, Shannon goes into labor. What were you doing? You were like brushing your hair or blow drying your hair, and then you felt like a pop. Is that what it was? Yeah, she is. So she's blow drying her hair. We kind of knew that the day was coming, so we kind of were like preparing for it. I think you already had everything, you know, packed up, for it coming up. And so yeah, I'm filling out applications. Uh, Shannon was, I guess, blow drying her hair. I think we were gonna go walk around Walmart, wasn't it? I think you were gonna try and walk around and but you felt a pop and you're like, I think I'm gonna lay down. And then it started kind of getting worse. So here's what happened. Here's the story on Macy's birth. Okay. So we're at home. Shannon feels the pop. She's resting. And then she goes, okay, this isn't getting better. Let's go. So we put Elle in the back. And so here's how we have it kind of planned out. We go, okay, if we're going to go back to our hospital, Progress West, there's a straight shot there if we take a highway. There's a certain highway out here. You kind of have two choices. You got 79, which is one highway, but then you got to go through town to get to the hospital. But if you go to another highway, where we're in Winfield and we go past Troy straight, through like Moscow Mills and Winsville, and it was straight shot to O'Fallon, right? So throw everything in. Ella's in the back. Shannon's well, she's having contractions, I should say. And you have your phone, right? And you're trying to track your contractions with your phone with a timer. And so we take one, it was highway, was it not 61, 79? No, not 79. Which one was at the Winfield? 47, that's what it is. 47. I'm sorry, you guys. It's a lot of back road stuff. So highway 47 to the main highway 4061. Okay. We get on 4061 and there's traffic. I think there was an accident. I'm not sure. and it's stopped. It's a standstill. And Shannon is like she is grabbing my hand, breathing, sweating, and I'm trying to make these last minute decisions where it's like, should I stay here? Should I get off the highway? Blah, 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 blah. Ella's in the back. Thank God she doesn't remember any of that, where Shannon's freaking out and I'm freaking out. And so I get off the highway, um, take another sort of back road highway 279 to take 79 all the way through O'Fallon's town, like the whole all the way through O'Fallon, the was it Main Street and but anyway, so yeah, we had to actually go through the town because of the fact that it was backed up. So anyways, um so we're I'm trying to keep my composure, when we're at stoplights and stuff like that. I'm in, let's get Shannon to the hospital. She's grabbing my hand, she's breathing, at some point I think she just gave up on her phone and quit trying to trying to keep track of her contractions and stuff like that. Poor Ella's still in the back, just kind of like, oh my God, what's going on? Freaking out. She's not saying anything, but she's just like, I think she's in shock. Thank God she doesn't remember that. So we finally get to the hospital. I run in. I'm like, my wife's pregnant. I think she's having contractions. She's going to go into labor soon. So they put her in a chair, wheel her up to the room. Um, I think you get up to go use the bathroom, and then your water broke in the bathroom, thankfully in the toilet. So, and then after that, I think we went ahead and let everybody know, hey, we're in the hospital. Um, I think everybody waited till later because when it was Ella's, everybody was there waiting the almost the entire time. And I forgot to add this. Wasn't that when the doctor? So here's what happened. So the doctor we were going to have, this is with Ella. Sorry, I'm kind of going back. I'm pulling a Tarantino, apparently. With Ella's birth, the doctor that we had got locked out of the hospital. And because it was like what, 4 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning that Ella decided to come out. So we were asked, hey, do you want to wait on your doctor? Or do you want to have just the on-call doctor that's in the hospital? And we're like, please, for the love of God, give us the on-call doctor. We are not waiting for that doctor to get there. But then the doctor was locked out. And so we stuck with the on-call doctor. I remember they were telling Shannon to see if you can keep the baby in, wasn't it? Can you can you make sure that you stop your contractions and stop your breathing treatment, whatever it is, to see if you can wait on the doctor. And we're going, no, this isn't happening. This baby wants to come out now. Okay. Ella wants to come out now. And so they finally brought a doctor, and I was joke with Shannon about this where they were telling me to blow out the candle. Yeah. Yeah. She just gave me the look. Yeah. There was a breathing thing that they did where it's like, okay, now blow out the candle. She's like, can you shut, like, oh my God, that was wild. That was a wild first experience with Ella. Oh man. Yeah. And you know what? Every birth that we went through, it was always an emotional time for me. Like I cry every time. It's always when the baby comes out and you hear that first cry, it's just like and so I think your mom was in the room with Ella, right? So it was me and your mom, right? And then was it Kelly and your mom was in with Macy, right? Yeah. So anyways, so we finally get in. Okay, let me go back to Macy. So we finally get Macy and or Shannon in the room. I think Macy comes around, was it evening time? Was it like 9, 10, something like that? 9 or 10 in the evening. And once it kind of got closer, I think we finally got a hold of everybody. It was like, hey, you can come on down now because again, with Ella, everybody was just at the hospital waiting. I'm like, you don't have to wait so long. You can go home and we can, that whole thing. That was a big old, I couldn't believe everybody stuck around that long at the hospital. Um, so yeah, so Macy was born August 26, 2011. Um, Again, I'm still working at Walmart, and then November 1st is when I started working at the middle school at it was Fort Zumwalt West Middle, and I was a custodian, janitor, maintenance guy, whatever you want to call it. And so yeah, so around that, and then 2012, I think we talked about how um your dad was getting worse, right? He got worse back in what, 2004? You said he had cancer. Do you remember what cancer it was? Prostate? Yeah, so prostate cancer. Again, that's why we were very big advocates of men's health, because we knew people who had, prostate cancer and testicular cancer and stuff like that. So, anyways, so he started getting worse. Um, did he I was looking at the pictures. Did he go through treatment and then they it just didn't work, right? Okay. Sorry. I don't mean to bring all this up, but I just kind of want to get you guys in the state of mind on, with having two kids, helping out her parents and stuff like that. None of this was any issues with between me and her. Like we were always working together, helping each other out the best we can. And even at the time when I was working at, the school, I'm getting used to a brand new job with a lot of different hours because when I was working at the school, I'd work second shift. And then if there was like the kids were off, I would have to come in the next day and work a morning shift. So it was adding a lot of like stress and depression because when you're working at the school, I had to work by myself down one hallway where, you know, when you're secluded in a hallway for 8 hours, you kind of go crazy a little bit and you're like, because when I was working at Walmart, you're around a lot of people. You're kind of working with people, you're talking, you're socializing, and even with customers, you're around a lot of people. So when I started working at the school, it started kind of getting to me because you go from being surrounded by people to being alone for 8 hours. I mean, yeah, I'd go downstairs to the break room and stuff like that and talk with people. But again, a new job, trying to get used to new people. And nobody was really that worked there was like in my age group. Like I was actually the youngest. And so, I'm trying to get used to this new job. And then at the same time, we're, working, living together. And then Shannon's dad gets worse. So again, at that time, working on music, working at the school, and then, just keeping my faith because I felt like between the anxiety and depression I was going through with new work and then being there, when Chen's dad isn't doing well, there's kind of this sort of um, you're trying to be the man of the house kind of thing, and so I was doing a lot of praying and reading the Bible and stuff like that, just trying to get wrap my mind around a lot of stuff. And so that was a pretty wild year with 2012. Um, and then um, 2013 came around, still working at the school. Um, when did your dad stop getting treatment? Was it before 2013 or was it around that time? Wasn't it February? Something like that. Early 2013 was when your dad stopped getting treatment. And then he just kind of accepted what's going to happen next. You know what I'm saying? So around 2013, I'm still working at the school, and I actually started listening to a lot more podcasts then, a lot of comedy podcasts, which I think kind of helped me lead into this, kind of thing, because a lot of podcasts kind of helped me get through, um, through working at work and just kind of keeping my mind on a lot of, positives. And so, um, August 10th, your dad unfortunately passed away. And so, you know, just trying to get used to that sort of new environment where, it's me, Shannon, Ella Macy, and her mom. And again, got to be the man of the house kind of situation. So, a lot of that just kind of weighs on you and everything like that. But you know what? It never was a problem for me, accepting and just being there and being the best dad ever. And so, being a great husband, she's been an amazing wife, very supportive. There's never been one instance where, never, it's never been a problem with me and Shannon where, if I'm working on music, doing a show, whatever it may be, she was behind me 110%. And, I was always there for her and her mom all the time, the best that I could. And so 2013. 2014, um, still working at the school. Um, Ella starts school. That was her first time going to school. I think we were still living in Winfield. Ella starts school. Still taking care of Macy, all that. Um, I have a new hobby called vinyl addiction, where I'm buying records. So we had a lot of, I was getting into records and listening to music, getting heavy into still creating music, learning about synthesizers and stuff like that. Um, Again, still working at the middle school, and actually that was the first year they allowed me to teach. Oh, it might have been 13 or 14. I'm trying to remember which year I started doing it might have been the year before, because I did it for 2 years, where they let me teach electronic music to the seventh graders. I had a teacher that I worked on her hall, and she goes, "Hey, I'm moving to be the music teacher." And I go, "Well, I make electronic music. That's awesome." And she was like, "Oh, hey, they don't really do a lot of sort of advanced teaching stuff for kids. A lot of it's, here's classical, here's this, here's that. I think it'd be cool for the kids to know that um what they can do musically as of right now." And so I would teach the kids, here's how you can make electronic music with apps and certain softwares now, even if, Fruity Loops, you can use that now. You can try the demo. Here's some apps that you can pull up on your phone or your tablet and, just create beats and stuff like that. So I was doing that, it's like kind of like volunteering work and everything like that. And so, yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. And I think that's the one thing I missed the most when I was working there, was being able to teach kids how to make music with, everything that you can use now. Because a lot of them thought, if you're going to be a musician, then you have to be on, American Idol or The Voice or whatever. And it's like, no, you can just make music. You can produce. You can, it doesn't even just have to be that. If you like being a pianist or playing guitar, you can just keep doing that. And then as you get older, you can just be in a band or, go into, music college or whatever it may be. So yeah. So November 15th on my birthday, we announced Aria. That was her birth announcement. So, Aria's in the oven cooking. Okay. So 2015 rolls around. Um they let me go from the school. Um and so I started around that time, I think it was January or February-ish. Around the time I lost my job, my parents were like, "Hey, we're going on vacation. How about you come with us?" And it was, me, Shannon, Ella, and Macy. So we hop in their car and we head out to, into Chicago. We got some deep dish. We made our way to, I think, was it Cleveland, Ohio, with the Christmas Story house? I was trying to remember the location. So we visited Christmas Story house. Then we made up towards New York. We saw Niagara Falls, which was amazing. It was cold. It was so cold then. But so many great moments. And then on our way back home, we stopped by Pennsylvania and visited the Night of the Living Dead graveyard. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of really neat time. And I felt so bad for the girls because they're stuck in a car for so many hours, and Shannon's pregnant and stuck in the car for hours. Must have drove her nuts. So um so around that time, I put in an application to work at General Motors since I lost my job at the school, and I actually got the call that I got the job on our way on vacation while we were driving and stuff. So that was like amazing. That was a huge blessing. And so March, no, February 13th was when I started working at GM. That was the first day. And then the following month on the 13th was when I became a permanent employee at GM. So, and that's where I worked now. So, yeah, working at GM is amazing, amazing experience. Made a huge difference in my life. And that's kind of where it comes in with, Arya is born July 2015, um, where once you find a job that can kind of help you out financially, it makes a huge difference. And especially a job where each year you're becoming more and more financially stable, I guess I should say. Because a lot of the past jobs, when you're working at Walmart or you're working for the school district, you're not making that much. It's definitely not like a living, especially for me, being like the man of the house, and my wife who has a lot of anxieties and depression, and with her selective mutism, it's hard for her to work, and so being like the man of the house, and being the provider and stuff like that, it's good to find a job where it's like, here you go, I can make a living. So July 2015 comes around. um we you I'm trying to find the right words, where your water broke. We were laying in bed, your water broke. Thank God it was on like a pad thing. And immediately we're like, all right, let's go. Um, Hop in the car. What time was it? Was it like 10 or 11 p.m.? Almost midnight, wasn't it? Something like that. Actually, we were watching Mark Maron, the Mark Maron show, whatever was on. It was on Netflix, wasn't it? Was it called Maron, the IFC show? Anyway, so we were watching Maron for water breaks. Um, we hop in the car. Um, Thankfully, there's no traffic. We made it there to the hospital. Again, one of those situations where um we just were like, okay, we're going to the hospital. We'll let you know what happens. With Aria, unfortunately, she wanted to come out backwards, butt first. And so that became a problem. So, unfortunately, we had to do a C-section, um, which is fine. I'm saying unfortunately because Shannon wanted to do more, like a natural birth type situation. But when, the baby wants to come out butt first, that's a lot more difficult. So, um, man, that was an intense time where um they put her in the operating room. I'm right there by her head. They got the curtain up. So I think they covered is up to her chest. Yeah. Oh, was it what was it? Yeah, up to your chest right there with the curtain. She still has the sort of epidural, so she's getting the shakes where I mean, were you cold or were you just getting the shakes? You don't know. Both? Yeah. So cold waiting or cold operating room. You just get the shakes when you have an epidural. So she's laying there. I'm holding her hand, just trying to comfort her like every other time. When she was having a kid, I'm there right by her side, holding her hand, just, just being there, being supportive, trying to keep my composure. And so they cut her open and it's scary. You know what I mean? Because when you have the first birth and you have a more natural, coming out the lady parts birth, they got the legs and then they got like a whole thing where stuff goes in, between blood and whatever it may be. Sorry if I'm being too descriptive, this is life. So you got blood and fluids and everything like that coming out, and it goes in a bag. Okay. That makes things a lot easier. It keeps things contained. When you're in an operating room and you look down and you see a lot of blood on the floor, it's scary. And it really gets to you a little bit. And you're just going, just be there, be comforting. You can't see it. I mean, I get it. They don't want anybody to see them, cut someone open and pull this out and pull that out and move that. I get it. So they're doing work on her. I'm being there, being supportive. They pull Ari out and she starts crying. And did they cut her umbilical cord? Yeah. So they sorry, I'm trying not to get too emotional. These things, it always gets the best of me, man, when you have your kids. So, um, so they pull her out. I think they snipped it. I don't think I snipped it that time. I think they did. And they put her in the kind of prep her up. You know how they do. Put a diaper on her, wrap her up, and so I'm hold. Oh, gosh, hold on. So I'm holding her, and she's crying, and Jesus Christ. So I'm comforting her and I'm trying to comfort my wife at the same time. Oh God, I'm sorry. It's just it gets when you're a dad and you're being there for your kids and you're there being there for your wife, you try to be uh you know. So anyway, so she's crying, Shannon's laying there shivering and there's blood all over the floor. and they're sewing her up and everything like that. And it just was such a hectic day because, you know, you're thinking you're going in going, hey, it's going to be another natural birth, okay? And then when they're saying, hey, there's complications, the baby's trying to come out backwards, and we got to cut her open. You get worried and you get kind of stressed out a little bit. And I know these things happen all the time. I get it. It's all part of life. And so it was just one of those moments where, again, at the time, I'm crying, of course, like I am now, where I'm holding Aria and she's crying. I'm crying. Shannon's laying there shivering and, just trying to keep it together and everything like that. And I'm trying to comfort her. And anyway, so everything works out just fine. Everybody's fine. Um, they wheel us back into our room. Aria, she had jaundice, didn't she? So Aria had jaundice, so they had to put her under a light or whatever. Um, so for a while there, she was laying in her little bassinet or whatever you call it in the hospital with a light. And again, I'm just trying to be there, be supportive, help them out the best I can. And but you know what? That breakfast was amazing. They have the best food at the I'll always just feel like go to the hospital because it's got the most amazing food there. Definitely their breakfast, one of the best. So um we bring Arya home. Not a lot much else happened in 2015. I'm getting used to working at GM. Started working day shifts. Um, moved over to I think I yeah, so I started working day shifts and then they bumped me to second shift. I think I tried again to do a day shift and then they bumped me back down to second. Um so yeah, I mean after that, um, working at GM, just working, being a dad, being a husband, working. Through 2016, I think the only thing I wrote down for 2016 was Stranger Things came out, and that was a big. We love Stranger Things in this house. It's probably one of our favorite shows. I'm a huge fan. Anything Stranger Things related, I'm all about it. So thank you 2016 for Stranger Things. Okay, we move on to 2017. Um, again, working at Walmart. Um, I wrote down met Pauly Shore December 16th with Shannon and Kelly and Eva. We all went to see Pauly Shore. Um, and then the big one, December 9th, we finally signed our contract to move into our house, which we currently live in Troy. We were able to move out of the trailer, the big house, the big trailer that we lived in Winfield. We now live in this house. Thank you, Jesus. Truly blessed. Thank you, GM, for just making a living. You know what I'm saying? And so, which I think a lot of it now just kind of comes to this point where living in the house, working at GM, um, uh, coming up, Shannon and I have our next weekend will be our wedding renewal. We were supposed to do it last year, but GM went on strike, so a lot of financial issues and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I think I pretty much got everybody caught up on everything. Kids are, going to school and everything like that. And I think we're doing pretty damn good. So, I feel like that's the end all of the we've made it to this point with Shannon and I. We're doing amazing. Even going back, because I kind of went to Facebook to kind of look up like what points, because that was probably the one place where it's like, here's what's going on. This is like it was like the journal or whatever, where you kind of knew you're able to kind of track what was going on at the time. And going through it, there's a lot of moments where Shan and I are doing exceptionally well. We're very blessed. We continuously we remind each other how happy we are. We go out on our dates, we'll post online like, hey, I'm thankful to have Justin, I'm thankful to have Shannon, like all these great things. I'm truly happy with just what life has given me, where I can kind of say, when we met in 2007, became friends, started dating, and then eventually getting married, which I knew we wanted, like really early on, we wanted to get married, way before Ella was even born. I think we just knew once we moved in and we knew we can get along and we didn't have problems and stuff like that, like we knew it's like, okay, this is it. We know what we want to do. And I always kind of feel bad because I didn't really do the like, hey, let's, pop the question, have the ring, because I had a bad experience. I think we both had a bad experience with that, where in previous relationships where it's like, hey, will you marry me? Engagement type situation, it just ended poorly, and so it I guess because of that experience, I saw it as like I don't want to go through that again, kind of thing. It just kind of was like a bad experience. So with Shannon and I, it was like we pretty much just was like, hey, we know we want to be together forever. We know we want to get married. One of those things where it's like, okay, let's go looking for a ring. I didn't want to do the thing where it was like, I'll go find the ring and buy it again because I had a bad experience with that. Where, in a previous relationship, I went out, bought a ring, popped the question, did all that. And then with the girl I was with at the time, that weekend, she wanted to go to the jeweler where I bought it from to know how much I paid for it. It was a real, I don't know, it just messes with your head. And then to again kind of get in a fight with her and then get the ring thrown back at you. Again, it was just one of those things where it was a negative event that was in my head. So, you know, I don't know. There's times I feel bad because it wasn't this big old grandeur where it's like, whoa, get down on one knee and do the whole thing. It, you know, it was just nice to go, we're all on the same page here. We know what we want to do. We don't need all the bells and whistles and the flowers and the this and the that, of the, what, put it in a piece of cake or, have the ring, what we didn't, I don't think we needed all that. We had our own love and the things that we've shared together and, all the moments that we've had together. I think those make life so much bigger than just having the moment of the ring, where even at a time when we had a favorite song together, I asked her to dance with me in the middle of a living room just so we can listen to the song and dance together. Those are those moments that matter, where in a previous relationship where, popping the question just became a negative. The the amazing things, the little moments that we share together. I don't feel like I have to do the pop the ring and pop the question and all that. I think it was just amazing to know that we were on the same page. And even when we were in the process of getting wanting to get married and planning all that, we were at kind of at our worst financially, but in our relationship, we were just doing tremendously. We were doing amazing because we didn't let anything get the best of us. And we still don't, which is great. So I think, I hope you're watching this, and if you're going, you know, if you can learn something from this, that's great. And I'm always open if anybody needs help talking with, about certain relationship stuff, So yeah, I think I've pretty much reached the end of this. I'm jabberjawing now. And yeah, so thank you for listening. I'll probably have some more. I want to try and do more like just rants on my podcast, aside from interviews and stuff like that. So I might do some more in the future talking about music and, being a musician, or, you know, being a dad, or whatever it may be. If you guys want to throw me suggestions, comments, whatever it may be. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Bye.